Hello, hello. Good evening, all. So today we are going to. So this is 2 days workshop in which we are going to talk about network pharmacology and how artificial intelligence can be incorporated with artificial intelligence, network pharmacology. The purpose of this workshop is that how Swalai Biotech is actually utilizing network pharmacology, artificial intelligence in the drug discovery, and how we can actually do new drug delivery, new drug and delivery utilizing network pharmacology and artificial intelligence. Okay, so just to start with uh, introduction about network pharmacology. So when we say network pharmacology, which is a emerging field under which complex interaction between drugs, proteins, and biological systems are studies which are utilized as a holistic approach in the drug discovery and development, which is actually moving from the the traditional way where single target strategies are used. So with this field, we can actually make sure that different interaction between the drugs, protein, and also different pathways can be studied before actually moving into the for the new drug. And simultaneously, it's not about looking at the single target. So just to give you an idea, myself, Dr. Praveen Bade, I'm the founder of Solai Biotech. We are utilizing network pharmacology in our drug discovery pipeline. Simultaneously, we have moved ahead by utilizing artificial intelligence into it. So that way, incorporating network pharmacology and AI, utilizing the plants, the small molecules from plant, and targeting different pathways which we get from the network pharmacology. We are actually trying to discover formulations which can be utilized as a precision medicine. So we are going to see what precision medicine is in the further presentation. So my aim from today's the session is to give you an idea what network pharmacology is, and how AI. So I will be introducing AI, and then how network pharmacology can be incorporated with AI, which can be utilized into the drug discovery. So, what is network pharmacology? So, network pharmacology is a systematic based approach where it is taking the holistic system into consideration and then looking at different biological networks and their interaction. So, this helps in the drug discovery where it can be utilized to identify different targets, and based on that target we can actually look at the different potential side effects. Simultaneously analyzing those complex, we can also look at different toxicity and also bioactivity. So it helps us to understand disease, about disease by looking at different mechanism and also the pathogenesis which can be dysregulated in the pathway. In addition to this, the purpose is that the combination therapy can be developed by utilizing multiple targets. So when you actually when you start with network pharmacology and when you are trying to potentially identify the targets, you are going to get different targets which are playing important role in those diseases. So there will be multi-targeted, and then combining those target and looking at the synergetic effects of different leads can lead toward the combination therapy. So with the help of network pharmacology, you are going to work on the combination therapy. It can be drug repurposing, it can be a combination of nutraceuticals, or it can be combination of small molecules from the plants. So why there is a need to incorporate network pharmacology or new techniques into the drug discovery procedure? Because of the limitations which we have due to the traditional drug discovery, because it is a time consuming and costly. So after 19 72, 75, actually high throughput screening came into the into the process. So not 1972, it was 1992. The high throughput screening came into in as a drug discovery model into the pharma companies, and it is basically mostly relevant to one target, hitting by a lot of single molecule to identify if there is a potential lead target interaction happening, so binding happening, and then it is going to be taken further. But due to this high throughput screening, it actually cost was increased, and due to that and also with the traditional approach, what is happening, the single target is been interacting with the drug, so the complexity of the disease is actually overlooked. And what is happening, the leads which is actually identifying activity against that target sometime is actually creating issue when it actually move into the into the drug discovery pipeline, and it is coming out in second and third phase of the clinical study. So there is a high failure rate into that, and if the molecule goes into the final phase 4 also, what is happening, it might produce different side effect or toxicity in future, and that's why it can leads to coming out from the market. So that is also happening. So there is a drug failure happening due to that lack of efficacy or safety issues, and due to all this limitation of the traditional drug discovery, there is a potentially need to have this type of technologies being utilized, so that way we can actually make sure that the drug can be developed which can be moved faster into the preclinical and clinical setup. So there is a emergence of network pharmacology due to this limitation of the traditional drug discovery. Simultaneously, the network pharmacology is actually looking at the holistic view. So there is a system level thinking going on here, where the system biology is going to understand the disease mechanism. So multi targets are going to be overlooked in the network pharmacology, and it is actually making sure that it bridges the gap between molecular, cellular, and physiological level to identify this multi-targeted. So with this positive things from the network pharmacology, which is actually showing response in the drug discovery. And due to the limitations of traditional drug discovery, which is at the moment with the target base, it is having issues because it's not considering the complexity of the biological system. So with the network pharmacology, what it is offering, we can actually understand disease mechanism and can have the ability to develop uh, pharmacological drug, which is actually can say polypharmacological intervention. So that is what we are going to get with the help of the network pharmacology. So when we look at network-based drug discovery, we can see that network pharmacology is taking a holistic view, where it is considering the complex interaction which are happening in the disease, and it is actually looking at different interaction between drug target and the different pathways. It helps in identifying the target, so it is mapping disease which is associated with different proteins. So it is helpful in identifying the pathways and the targets. It also helps in the prediction of the interaction between the protein drug. So it helps in designing, or also helps in designing a more effective and safer therapy. So it's not only about drug protein interaction, but it also gives you an idea if the two proteins are playing important role and there is actually interaction between those two protein, the lead can actually interact with one protein, and due to that the other protein also is actually responding in that therapy. So this type of information can be utilized using the network pharmacology. Then the repurposing of the drug. So the drug which is already there in a market, which is having activity for certain types of the diseases, can be utilized to look activity in other diseases, which can be also identify at the initial level utilizing network pharmacology to understand the important connection between those drugs with the other diseases and the pathways. So with this network based drug discovery, we can actually look at different target, we can predict different interaction, we can also develop repurposing therapies, so that this can be done. uh, with the help of the network pharmacology, human interactons can be utilized to map physical interaction between the protein in the human body. So this interconnection protein are playing important role in regulating cellular processes and also maintaining the hemostasis. Understanding this interacton, it is essential for identifying association between different protein, but also helping in developing targeted therapy. So we are not going out of the targeted therapy. Targeted therapy is there with the high throughput screening also, but only with the network pharmacology. What is happening? There is a numbers of protein which are actually playing important role in that diseases are considered while developing the therapy. So it will be targeted therapy, but targeting numbers of protein and by numbers of molecule as well. So the formulation will be a combination of small molecules which are targeting those protein which plays important role in that disease. So that what we are targeting utilizing the network pharmacology. Now, as I explained, that two protein which are actually interacting with each other, so those are also targets. They're actually forming a network. So the fundamental part of this network pharmacology is to look at different targets, that is the proteins, but simultaneously look at the protein-protein interactions, which are also a target, which helps to develop a therapy where you can actually look at the connection between the proteins to understand the biological system. So together, these proteins are actually playing essential role in cellular process, and also it is playing important role in disturbing the interaction which are happening into the disease. So they are actually contributing in the disease too. So understanding the network interaction, utilizing the network pharmacology, we are going to identify that which proteins are important when you are actually targeting uh, you know target in your disease. So it's not only that you need to identify which proteins are playing important role in the disease, but simultaneously which two proteins which are interacting and then producing the effect, that is also important, and that information can be identified using network pharmacology. Now with the pathways and also with the signaling network, we are going to understand that which biological pathways and signaling are playing important role in the cellular function. So these proteins, these pathways, and these signaling cascades are important when you are actually targeting a single protein or combination of protein separately, or protein-protein interaction. So these networks are actually regulated by different genes, different protein, which are actually going to allow cells to respond based on the different environmental clues or something which is happening internally. So understanding the topology or dynamics of these pathways are important part, and that can be done with the network pharmacology. So the potential therapeutic targets in the disease can be identified, potential pathways and signaling networks which plays important role in the disease can be identified. The information which I have given, the purpose is that I want to um, try and inform you that the disease is not a just what a single protein is not playing important role. It is actually a complex uh, process where different things are getting involved. So it is a multifactorial nature where multiple genes, multiple proteins, simultaneously the environmental factors are playing important role. So while considering developing a new treatment, it is not a single target hit by a lead is going to work. So there is a need for looking at multiple genes and protein. Simultaneously, dysregulation of biological networks and pathways are something which is happening while disease is going to happen. You also can look that the comorbidity is another thing where the person is actually having presence of one or more, or more than that, additional conditions which is actually increasing the complexity. So if I give an example, that the people who are having let's say high blood pressure or any cardiovascular disease, there is chances that they might having another chronic disease as well. And you can see majority of the patients are now in this category. There is very less people they actually having just one disease. So I can tell you that when if somebody is having cancer, he's actually having combinations of disease. So it is getting very critical that what to treat when we're trying to treat the cancer. The patient or the person is actually critical with the other disease as well. Simultaneously, heterogeneity of the patient, that is actually patient having same diseases actually can show different symptoms. Simultaneously, progression of those diseases can be different, and responses to the treatment. So that's there where actually the personalized medicine comes, that people having the same disease are showing different symptoms and also responding to the different treatment because the progression of the disease is different. So this is the complexity of the disease, and it is very important that we should understand this, and that can be done utilizing the network pharmacology. So overall, when we look at the complexity of the disease, we need to make sure that the polypharmacology, that is the combination of the molecule targeting different proteins, so not only single protein, need to be considered to be a, a treatment which can be utilized to prevent or to treat the disease. So when you are tackling a complex disease, there is a need for this polypharmacological formulations or the therapy which can be effectively treat the complex multifactorial condition. It will help in engaging multiple targets, so it's not the single, because combination of the molecule will go and target different proteins, so that can be done. In addition to this, what is going to happen, it will helpful in reducing the side effect of the treatment, so that is going to happen. And simultaneously utilizing the network pharmacology, you can actually build that polypharmacological drug. So that complexity can be already studied before actually moving into the polypharmacological uh, treatment. Now, so polypharmacological is nothing new. It is already there. It was already there before actually the allopathic treatment started. So when we say polypharmacological, the herbals, the nutraceuticals, those all formulations are polypharmacological one. But it is very important that you need to connect them with the scientific, with the targets which are there, the proteins which are there, which play important role in the disease. So identifying those targets are important. So the network pharmacology helps in identifying the key proteins which are involved in that disease. So analyzing those protein and protein-protein interaction, we are going to find out the critical nodes that those are there between the two protein. Those are going to helpful to understand the pathway which are complex, and those are actually playing important role in that disease. So once we understand that, it is going to help us to develop a promising drug target treatment. So with that information, and also the information which comes from the genetic point of view, that is the genetic factors which are contributing into the disease progression or disease leading towards the disease, can be helpful to understand or guide us to which genes need to be targeted or which protein need to be targeted while developing the drug. So it's not only the protein which are there in the disease, but simultaneously the genetic targets. So analyzing all this, the protein interaction, the pathway, the genetic target, we can actually analyze the topology of that protein. So how it is actually interacting and how the networks are formed. Those we can identify. The nodes between the protein, the edges between the protein can be identified, and then a drug target which is needed to be target can be actually studied utilizing the leads. It can be from the plants, it can be from the synthetic, or it can be from the leads from the repurposing point of view can be studied. So now what is happening, that we have actually identified the targets. Now with the leads, what we can do the um, the comparing of the 3D structure of the drug molecules and the target protein, that is the in silico study, to identifying the potential binding interaction. So we can do the docking studies, and after doing the docking studies, we can go for the docking simulations, where we can understand the docking algorithm with the drug, that how they actually bind to the target. So now this is the initial way in silico study is done, where we done the docking and when we done the simulation. So now the third part, which is the artificial intelligence, where the machine learning model can be developed. So training those models are possible. So after doing the molecular docking, we have got the 3D structure of the lead and the protein. Those data can be utilized to train the machine learning model to understand that the drug which we are going to actually develop, is there any potential interaction which is going to produce any side effect or toxicity. Simultaneously, it is going to show the activity because we already have those lead and target binding there. but we need to understand if there is any potential side effects or toxicity, and that can be predicted by utilizing the machine learning model. Machine learning means the artificial intelligence, which we are going to see later in detail. Now, network-based drug repositioning is there. Repurposing and repositioning are two different things. So once you analyze the disease gene association and drug target interaction within the biological network, we are going to uncover potential use of the existing drug. So that is called the repurposing of that molecule. But when you are evaluating that, you are going to look at the drug interaction with multiple target. So that can be utilized as a new therapeutic application, which is actually beyond what was it used previously. But while doing that, you are going to utilize the network model to identify if there are any side effect, adverse events happening with those molecules. So it can be then safely repositioned for the activity which they have shown to the multiple target. So the repositioning is something which is going to take that molecule and will look at the different activity. Now, in addition to the repositioning, you are going to also develop a combination of drug therapy. So combination of drug therapy is where we are actually looking at the synergistic interaction. So you are going to combine. So the leads which are already there in the public domain or in the market, you can actually do the combination and can see the synergetic effects on the targets which you have identified. Then it will also help us to do the combination therapy for multiple target pathways. So if I give an example, that if you look at different pathways, so there is a kinase pathway is there, or there is a uh, you know signaling pathway is there. So when you actually also apoptosis pathways are there, so you can actually look at the proteins which are playing important role in this pathway, and the same molecule is actually acting on different pathways. So the protein from the different pathways are targeted by a single compound. That can be possible, or multiple molecules and multiple pathways are targeted, but all these three pathways are playing role in that single disease. So that's what you can also do. So you are targeting multiple pathways which are actually leading to the multiple disease. So that is another thing which you can look. Then network pharmacology is also guiding in the drug combination. So it is also important that the complex diseases which are actually happening, utilizing the network pharmacology, you can actually you can utilize network pharmacology to do that. Now, just now in this previous slide, that we have looked at the combination of drug therapy because of the synergetic interaction and multiple target. So identifying this synergetic drug combination is important, because you are actually going to target different pathways, and you are utilizing different protein which are playing important role. It can be pairs of groups of proteins, and then the drugs, the single compounds which you are actually utilizing, can be combined to test the group activity to identify the synergetic interaction between the proteins and the leads. Then you can utilize network pharmacology with the machine learning to predict the synergetic drug combination. So before going to in vitro, in vivo, or even clinical, utilizing network pharmacology, you can predict, but you need to combine with machine learning to predict the synergetic drug combination. So you don't need to actually say that you will add aspirin with paracetamol and this will happen. With the network pharmacology, you actually have got the proof that combining these two molecules is going to target this protein, and it is going to play important role in this biological pathway. Yes, the third point is that you need to do the validation by experimentally testing those predicted synergetic combination. It can be in cells or it can be in the animal models, but it is going to again based on what you are. So if you're going for single new molecule and then combining with single novel molecules, then synergetic combination of those need to be tested in cells or animal. But if you're working with plant-based single molecules, or if you're working the drugs which are already in the market, you still need to do sales and animal, but you don't have to be. It can be directly information can be isolated utilizing like observational clinical trials, or you can also go directly with the animal studies, because it's already well established that the concentration of those molecule will be toxic at certain dose. So that is already there. So always go for in vivo and clinical. Then analyzing the mechanism of different combination is important, because those are producing synergetic effect. So targeting different nodes in that networks can be studied, and a synergetic combination can be developed. So that's what lot of things which I have explained to you. We are already doing it utilizing the network pharmacologists, and we are developing those combination, the polypharmacology of a small molecules, and we are utilizing plant-based small molecules, and then we are targeting the proteins or protein-protein interaction. In addition to the protein target, network pharmacology is also useful in predicting the off-target effect. So, when you analyze the protein target interaction network, it is going to reveal unexpected targets that a drug may bind. So, it can lead towards off-target effect. You still need to make sure that when these off-target effects are produced, you need to make sure that you in vitro or in vivo you are going to validate those predicted off-target interaction, so that way you can understand what biological consequences are happening. Based on those, you can go for structural modeling. So computational docking and molecular dynamic stimulations can help in the in the prediction of the binding affinity. But simultaneously, you can also understand any specificity of the drug to that potential of target. So this can be studied utilizing the computational models which are available at the moment. Now, with the different computational method in network pharmacology, what we are doing, we are utilizing the data. We are mining the data to understand the combination of those molecules with the combination of the protein. So, the data is available in the public domain, data such as like clinical or pharmacological data or omics data, which is going to help us to understand those patterns which are there in that data, and different insight can be utilized. Then we are moving further utilizing the machine algorithm. So as I told you that you train the machine to understand that what type of binding has been happened between the leads and the protein. You can do that, but simultaneously there are different algorithm available, like neural networks are available, random forest is available, support vector machine is available to understand the complex relationship between those biological networks, the pathways which are there. So understanding that is going to help us to develop a interactive visualization, which is going to be helpful to study the network topology of those protein and identify the nodes between the two proteins and also the edges between the two protein. In addition to that, we also get information about modules and the network motifs which are there in the protein. So all these methodology from the network pharmacology are utilized to understand the protein in deeper sense, but simultaneously connecting it with artificial intelligence, that is machine learning algorithm, we are getting additional information. So with this data integration and mining, we are actually going to get information of different domains of the proteins. In addition to that, we are also getting information about genomic, proteomic, and different pharmacological database can be utilized. With this information, you need to make sure that you carefully do the data cleaning, so that way you can normalize the data. You can also take the control of the quality of those data, so which is then shows the reliability and consistency of that data. With helpful of this data and data cleaning, you are now going to do the data mining techniques, such as like graphical algorithms will be utilized, or machine learning tools or techniques can be utilized, which is going to help us to understand the hidden pattern between that data, and also the relation between the different protein can be understand. So this is going to give us a meaningful biological insight about the protein, or genes, or protein drug, and it is going to help us in the drug discovery and development efforts. So it is very important that when you actually look at the data, you integrate it with, and you do the data cleaning, which is going to help us to utilize to unfold the hidden pattern between the different protein. So here I'm just shortly like introducing you with the machine learning, which is second part of our presentation, artificial intelligence. But the four areas where machine learning is divided, that you are going to look at supervised learning, unsupervised learning. So in this supervised learning, what happen? You actually have a data which is labeled. So like I can give an example that when you actually do a thumb, where your thumb has been actually already taken as a evidence, and it is loaded in the machine. So when you go like attendance with the thumb expression, when you go for that, when you put your thumb, it shows that it is you. So that is called supervised learning, where you have label. So we actually there is one tool from Microsoft, which where you can actually utilize this supervised learning model. So we had done an experiment on chicken eyes. So we actually had damaged and undamaged eye. With that data, we trained the machine to make sure that they will classify it in future that it is damaged or it is undamaged. So we train the machine with 100 of damage and 100 of undamaged. So next time when we done the experiment, when we load that image to the model, it is showing us that it was damaged, and if there is no damage, it will show us it is undamaged. So that way you can actually train the machine, but it has to be labeled. In unsupervised, you actually have a data which is unlabeled. You can look at the patterns in that data. You can look at the clustering and dimensionality reduction in that data. So that is about supervised, unsupervised. In deep learning, there is different networks, like neural networks are there, which can utilize for the large data set, and from that you can understand. You can look at the different ways. So it can be in the images, or it can be in the text. You can use the deep learning. Then the last one is the reinforcement learning, where the algorithm is actually learning by interacting with the environment, and it is receiving the rewards or penalties. So like when you are making a decision, at that time reinforcement learning can be utilized. So for decision making or controlling problem, you can utilize this algorithm. So based on what you want to do, machine learning can be utilized. So these are the one for the training purpose, for the training model. Now, in addition to what I discussed, so basically the part, so network pharmacology is more about a initial part of the drug discovery process. It will take around 12 to 15 years to actually discover a drug which can be then utilized by the human. The patent can be done at the initial level, but simultaneously, most of the time, the company don't go for the patent at the initial phases. The reason is that they want to actually protect the intellectual property for measure of the time, so that way they can actually it will be useful for them for the benefit for longer time. So till it reached to clinical trials, the molecule is labeled as number or something which is not going to be disclosed. But when we look at the network pharmacology till the clinical, all this process is having different phases of the work which need to be done. Network pharmacology is useful where you can understand a lot of information at the beginning, but still you need to do in vitro assays to understand what you have actually interpreted in network pharmacology or with the molecular docking. It is valid and it is going into the right direction with the right target and right proteins. While when you finish with the in vitro, the animal study need to be done to look at the safety and efficacy of those molecules or formulations. Once that information is available, then evaluating of those information from animal cells and network pharmacology will be done utilizing the clinical trial. So we at Life Biotech are doing all these phases. In the clinical trial, we are not going to the the normal phase zero, phase one, phase two, phase three trial. We are doing observational clinical trials because the molecules, because the plant, the extract, the formulations are already there in public domain, or we are actually manufacturing our own with our extraction methods, so that way we can actually confirm the activity in those protein which we have targeted. So experimental validity is important, but network pharmacology is going to give you the target at the initial level only. So when you are looking from that point of view, you're including network pharmacology at the beginning. But when you look from the herbal or Ayurvedic or nutraceutical point of view, you can actually look network pharmacology at the end to show that where this nutraceutical or herbal product is actually targeting in the in the disease. So that also you can do, and you will find lot of paper actually doing this, because the Chinese people have actually utilized network pharmacology with very good way, and also have developed different databases of those Chinese herbs and small molecules. So there is a they can give the explanation that how those formulation, the Chinese formulation, are working and on what they are targeting. So when you do the network pharmacology, there is a network form similar type what is there on the screen. So it is very important that you understand what is actually it is showing. It is showing the protein interaction. It is showing the pathways. It is showing the biological network. So there are advanced techniques available which can actually give you the meaningful insights from this network. So there is a meaning for the distance between the two protein. Then there is a meaning for the edges or the nodes which are there, that the distance between the two protein. All this is actually giving you the information. So it is very important that when you have those visualization, that visualization need to be analyzed properly. The key properties like centric or modularity or motifs are going to be revealed by these networks, and those are important because they are actually revealing important information about the hubs, about the clusters, about the patterns that are there, which is going to be useful information for the drug discovery, or even with the repositioning or repurposing of the molecules, or in the also in the herbal formulation. So it is important that you analyze and interpret it. Now, with the topology of the proteins, you're going to get information of the centrality measurement. So, as I told you that there are nodes, there are edges. So, those key nodes, you need to understand, the connectivity between. So, if you If I show you on this slide, there are these three protein. So when we are looking at these three protein, it is important that these nodes, it is actually showing the connectivity between these two protein and how they are going to influence that uh, you know uh, in that disease. It is going to matter by these nodes. So it is very important that you understand the network between these three protein and how much distance this node is going to give. Also, the second thing is about the network motif, where you are going to see about recurring patterns of those interconnected nodes, and also it is going to reveal the functional modules and design principles. Third thing is the network modules, where you are going to look at the dense connected clusters and nodes that are representing the distinct biological process and pathways. So sometimes what happen when you have the visualization, some of the nodes actually are very dense. So that information is also important. So when you are analyzing the network, it is important that you look at the nodes and the edges which are actually there, and giving critical information about those two protein and about the distance between those two protein. So network motif, it is going to give you information about recurring patterns of the interconnected nodes and the edges, which is important to understand the fundamental building of those protein. Then clusters of nodes are highly interconnected, so they are actually performing specialized function within those large networks. So understanding that is important. Then identifying the densely connected groups of node which are going to share common properties and functions. So getting this information is giving you a lot of information about that network, about those protein interaction. Now, when you actually look at the protein-protein interaction, there is degree, there is betweenness, and there is a centrality. So, when you look at the degree, it is the measurement of the number of direct connection between the node. So, how many it is directly connected, which is going to indicate the importance of that network. So, if you look at one protein and then it is connected to, let's say, 15 or 20, so this protein is important because it's going to interact with all this 10 to 15 protein. So that's what the degree. So degree of this protein is going to be higher because it's actually connecting lot of protein. And then there is a betweenness. So quantifies the number of shortest pathway. So as I told you that when you're looking at three protein, the node which is actually showing as a shortest pathway is important, and it is going to play important role as a gatekeeper or as a broker in the network. So betweenness is important. You can identify the betweenness or degree in network pharmacology. So there is a software called Cytoscape which can be utilized, and you can get all this information. And the third thing is engine vector centrality, where you are looking at the nodules which are influenced by the importance of the neighboring protein. So that is also important thing, and you can identify that. So that way you will come to know the highly influent nodes between the network, so that information can be utilized using the network pharmacology. And cytoscape is one of the tool which can be, we are going to see that tool tomorrow, that how we are using it. So these are the applications of the network pharma. So actually, network pharmacology can be utilized in all the diseases, because you are actually looking at different proteins and it is from the public domain. So cancer is the major disease which is utilizing network pharmacology. So there are a lot of databases available, and lot of information can be isolated using network pharmacology. But in addition to that, you can utilize in neurogenerative diseases, cardiovascular diseases, also in the infective diseases. We also used network pharmacology in studying the toxicity. So we actually look at the targets for the toxicity specifically. Then we went into the human category and we only look at the different human proteins which can be utilized in the toxicity. And we have actually developed a correlation between those protein, and there is a brain shim which we are studying. So we are also looking the different protein in that brain shrimp, and we are targeting protein in the human. So we are actually developing a model, in vivo model, which can actually utilize, instead of, let's say, instead of zebrafish, or instead of the animals which need the ethical sanctioning. Now there are, different ways of using network pharmacology in different diseases. So with the cancer, you can develop a precision oncology, or you can develop a combination therapy, or you can also identify a novel target. So if I give an example, there is a work going on in one of the group. What they are doing, they actually, looking at the cancer patient tissue, and identifying that which protein is actually mutated in that cancer patient tissue, which then they mutate in the animal, and then they screen different molecules. So that type of work can also be done, and network pharmacology can be utilized to understand that protein, and then same mutation can be produced in animals like zebrafish, or fruit flies, or even C. elegans. So these animals can be utilized. So there is no need of going for ethical, permission. You can utilize them, and you can study those protein in those animal, and if the molecule is actually working. So this project was about drug repurposing, because the molecule is already been in the public domain. So similar type what we used in cancer therapy, it can be utilized in neurodegenerative diseases, where you can understand the complexity of the disease. You can utilize the polypharmacological approach. You can also use drug purposing, or you can also go for the precision medicine. Precision medicine can be a single molecule, a single target, or it can be numbers of molecule with numbers of target, but it will be for specific people only, who actually having mutation in that certain protein. Then in the infectious disease, it is similarly used, looking at pathogens, identifying the target, identifying the combination of the combination of the therapy. Cardiovascular disease, it can be utilized to understand different target in heart diseases. You can also utilize, to understand different protein and interaction in stroke. You can look at the different signaling, different pathways in hypertension, and you can also look different protein from the genetic or molecular factor point of view in the cardiac arrhythmia. So, all these diseases are utilizing the network pharmacology, but there is a challenges. There are future direction. One of the future direction we are already utilizing um, here, that is the advancing computational methods, where you are actually utilizing the AI. But there are challenges. So when you are actually integrating the different data, in this case multi-omic data, if you are utilizing, there is a need to gain that data from the experiments, and that need to be having a proper integrated data from the omics, simultaneously from the clinical data point of view, from the electronic healthcare record, from the patient report. The outcomes should be relevant and applicable for the network for ecological purpose. Simultaneously, you need to address the regulatory requirements and guidelines to enable the translation of this network pharmacological approach into the approval therapy. So initially, you can utilize for the herbal or with the nutraceutical. So that way, regulatory can be convinced that that can be done, and it is already some of the company. There is a company called In Silico. They are already doing this. So utilizing this in silico and network pharmacology, they directly taking the molecule into the clinical study. So that is already happening in drug repurposing. It is possible. So now integrating multi-omic data. So data integration is important when you're actually combining different omic data. There is a need to understand, the biological system and disease mechanism. Simultaneously, you need to integrate and analyze large-scale, heterogeneous omic data, which you are going to get from the advanced computational method only. So there is a tools handling complexities there, and also the volume of information is more. In addition to this, there is a integrating multi-omic data animal, so which can be utilized to identify critical molecular pathways, biomarkers, and therapeutic targets, which are there in the biological level, which it can be studied. So integrating multi-omic data is actually a good way to move into further, but it is also a challenge to have those information and having these challenges solved. So it is important to study that. Then incorporating real world evidence is something which need to be looked. So like you need to have the electronic healthcare record, you need to have that claim data, patient registry data, which can be utilized. Then the patient report, for, which like outcome reports need to be utilized. So those need to be understand first, and those need to be utilized in the network pharmacology. Then the regulatory decisions. So regulatory plays an important role, and in the real world evidence, so data from clinical study or regulatory submission should be integrated with the uh, network pharmacology. And then the post market surveillance, that is the pharmacovigilance, where rare adverse event or long term safety, or the post approval modification to the drug level need to be integrated with the network pharmacology. Regulatory considerations are important, and it need to be considered. It shouldn't be overlooked. So uh, you know regulatory oversight, validation requirement, data transparency, ethical consideration need to be considered when you are actually working on the network-based approach, and it should be utilized to make sure that the privacy, the concern, and the use of patient data are not actually, uh, you know, uh, been utilized as a for the research purpose only, and it is not actually been bleached by the researcher. So there is a transition happening from the network to the clinical, where utilizing the network derived hypothesis, we are moving towards the clinical one, utilizing different biomarkers and target, and we are utilizing a combination therapy to develop a synergetic effect of those combination therapy, and those are from the small molecules from the plant. So Swalife is already doing that with the help of the hypothesis which we are developing with network pharmacology. We target biomarkers from the target which we have identified using network pharmacology. In addition to that, we do the validation of those target. We are identifying and validating the targets, and then we are going for a combination therapy of a single molecule of the small molecules plant, and we are looking at the effect in vitro, in vivo, and clinical. So we are already doing that. So that was about the network pharmacology, from the network pharmacology point of view to the to the market, bringing into the clinical. So that's about the network pharmacology. So then now the next part, which we are going to. So if there are any questions, also you can drop your question into the on the YouTube, and as you go, I will answer them. But if there are any question, you can ask me later as well. So now the next part is that about how we can incorporate AI. So before going towards how we can actually incorporate AI, I just want to introduce that what is about AI and how we can utilize in network pharmacology. So AI, here what we are trying to do is that we are using the algorithms. I already introduced little bit about machine learning and different areas of machine learning which comes under AI, that how that can be utilized to unlock the new insight in the complex biological system which human have got, and how we can actually have a breakthrough into drug discovery where Swalife is actually working on precision medicine, that is the personalized medicine, but from the herbal formulations. We are not going for synthetic one. We are actually looking small molecules from the plant, and those small molecule will be utilized. So when we say about what is artificial intelligence, it is a computer system which are capable of doing tasks which are required human intelligence. So as I told you, with the machine, we actually feeding the machine with the data. So with the supervised, I give an example where we are feeding the machine with damage and undamaged, and then it can actually recognize that which one is, in the future any data comes, it will recognize which one is damaged and which one is not damaged. So we are actually developing system, and has got the capacity to recognize damage and damage with the example, but recognize different pattern. It can help us to make the prediction or even make the decisions utilizing the data which we are giving to the machine. So it will automate the task in future. So the application is that it will help us to automate in the task in future, and there is a no need. Initially, we will have the human, intelligence used, but after that, there is no need to utilize the human intelligence. So at the moment, it is broadly used in speech. You must be knowing that human voice is cloned. Then language processing. So much tools are there now. You can convert English to Hindi, Marathi. Marathi can be converted into other languages. All this is already happening. Then there is a computer vision. So you know that now so many tools in artificial intelligence are there where they can actually, with one sentence, they can draw that image and they can give different copies of those images. So computer vision can be used. Robotics is there where robots can be developed and they can do things which they are fitted with. Then predictive analyticals, transforming industries and revolutionizing industries utilizing these tools, reutilizing this technology. So this already happening in other fields, and we are trying to utilize it into the pharma. Some of the companies are already utilizing it. Some of the companies are already there in market. As I told you, in silico is one of the example which is utilizing this. They're utilizing the network. Neural network model from the machine learning, and they're actually developing different molecules. The example which I gave you, the protein molecule binding, they're feeding and training the machine. So when we look at the history, just to give you an the background, artificial intelligence is the word is taken many time now, but it is not new. It is there from 1940. Alan Turing in British Library in UK. There is actually a room for named by Alan Turing, one of the scientists who has played an important role in computer and in artificial intelligence. Um, the advancement actually started from 1980, but now after 2000 it has taken more lead, and after this corona 2020 it is now developing very very fast, and there is a need for different areas to understand how they can utilize this into that area. So the fundamental concept which we have discussed already, machine learning, neural networks, computer visions, and natural language processing is already utilizing AI, and how we can utilize this, the AI fundamentals into network pharmacology or into drug discovery. That's what we are trying to do. We have developed two product utilizing this. We will be discussing those product tomorrow. But machine learning algorithm is one of the part of AI which we have used, and we have developed one tool. So we have got the images from the experiment, and we have developed a tool out of it. So supervised learning is what we have done. Unsupervised learning is for the data and looking at hidden pattern into that. Deep learning and reinforcement we already discussed. Deep learning and neuronal networks are another models where you are actually trying to identify the patterns. You are trying to identify the different multi-layers in that information. You are trying to look at the data from the neural network point of view, and it can be utilized using the hardwares. So hardwares of the computers are actually rapidly changing. There is a progression happening in the GPU system of the computer, and all this, the deep learning and neural networks are possible to identify a lot of things using machine learning. Natural language processing is already happening, as I gave an example. So converting from a different language, but in human in pharma point of view, you can look at text analysis, you can look at the sentimental analysis, you can develop virtual assistants and chatbot which can help to answer the queries from the patient, answer the queries from the scientist. So that for that purpose, natural language processing can be utilized. Computer vision and image recognition, I told you about that. With the chicken eye, that image recognition part can be done, where based on. So I can give an example that when you do a blood test, and if that blood test is actually done in direct immunofluorescence, or you done cell cycle analysis, you are going to get some of the images, and those images can be analyzed, or those images can be utilized to feed the machine. And in the in the future, when you actually give any blood report from cell or from the indirect immunofluorescence, it is going to tell you that what is the percentage of damage, or what is the percentage of the protein or the dye which is actually staining, and based on that you can come to the conclusion about your disease. So that can be utilized in image recognition. So AI in drug discovery is already being utilized in analyzing. So there is a algorithm developed which is analyzing the vast data set of the novel candidates. So you also predicting drug target interaction. So I can give an example like this chat GPT, which is again artificial intelligence, but it is different. It is generative AI, where it can generate information based on the data which is there in the public domain. So if I am asking ChatGPT that this is the single molecule, and we want to understand that where this will go and bind. So definitely it is giving me different protein which are utilized by this molecule. So that is already happening, and companies, we are using that for our initial purpose as well. So it is going to help us in reducing the cost, the timeline. So with the in silico company, the drug discovery process, which was taking 12 to 15 years, now been reduced to around 7 to 8 years, because the molecule is already, studied in silico, and if that is actually binding to certain protein, clinical people also, you can only take those only which is having mutation in that protein. So that work is already been started by some of the pharma companies. So target identification, lead optimization, all these processes now are being done utilizing AI. So it is actually, so network pharmacology with AI is actually developing an interdisciplinary field where it is bridging the disciplines by combining principle of biology, chemistry, computer science, and system biology together to understand the drug target interaction and the complex biological network. Then it is also focusing on individual drug target relationship. So we actually having different target, but you are actually making sure that you study one drug target relationship, and then the network which has been developed can be uh, you know approached to understand that how that drug is going to create impact in that biological system. So that is happening. So systematic level approach is there. Then you are enhancing drug discovery by integrating the data and developing a network which is going to accelerate the drug discovery and improve the drug efficacy and reduce the adverse effect. And with this all approach, you are actually going to develop a personalized medicines which is going to help to tailor the treatment to that individual patient. So in India, there was a concept called family doctor, which is still there, but it has now reduced. But previously, it was there where the doctor knew that what to give to this family, because he knew about father, mother, son, daughter, and that way it was a personalized treatment. So integrating AI and network pharmacology. So you are actually utilizing the data. So you are combining the diverse biological data resources. With help of that, you are going to develop a predictive model where you are going to utilize the machine learning, the AI algorithm to predict the drug target interaction. Once you've done that, you are going to uncover the complex relation between the biological systems. At the second stage, utilizing the database, at the second stage, you incorporate the AI, and then based on that, you are going to produce a network of that complex relationship and going to develop a biological system. Once you develop that, then you go for the in silico screening, and then you are going to develop a personalized medicine. So here, if you are going to utilize molecule from plant or from the lead which is already in the public domain, it is very very fast that you move to a clinical profiling of your medicine, because the molecule is already there, or with the plant it is, or that small molecule is already utilized by the people. So there is no need to go from phase 0 to phase 3 clinical trial. You directly go into the observational clinical trial. So I'm going to discuss that part on Saturday. We will be sharing the link about observational clinical trial, and you will come to know that how faster way you can actually take the formulation or the combination of the molecules to the people, and that also with the understanding that what they are targeting in the human biological system. So network mapping, and with that network mapping, combining the data and then producing a interactive modeling, that is the predicting novel connection is the key aspect of the network pharmacology, utilizing the biological network and the complex human network. You are actually going to develop a biological network and the interaction. So it will give us the uncovered hidden relationship between all this network, and it is going to produce a potential drug target. So predicting drug target interaction is important. So when you gather the data, you are going to have information about drug target interaction, the chemical structure, the biological target, and the information from where you got the uh, you know drug and target information. Once you got that, you are going to get those informative features from this about the drug, about the target, and you will have the descriptors about the molecules, you will have the sequence of your target, and you will have the network based properties. Once you got all this, you're going to feed that to the machine. So you are going to teach the machine, and the algorithm will be developed. That can be deep learning neural network, which is going to help utilizing the patterns, and it is going to predict unknown drug target interaction. So with the AI, you can actually develop a AI model, which is going to help us in future that once you give this drug, where it is going to go and target, and which type of side effect or which type of toxicity it can produce, or which type of bioactivity it can produce. So you're developing model at once and continuously feeding it with the your data, and once you've done that, in the future whatever you feed, it is going to give you the information about that. So identifying novel drug candidate can also be done utilizing AI, where you are going to, again, as I told you, you are going to collect all the chemical compounds which have actually biological targets. You will then do the network pharmacology analysis to develop a map of those complex diseases and the compound. So it will then uncover the relation between those. And once you got that, you are going to train the machine to identify the new compound with the desirable pharmacological properties. And once you've done that, you will go for the in silico optimization, where you are going to refine and optimize that lead compound, which has shown the potency as a drug-like compound. In addition to that, so we look that how it can be useful in drug target interaction, how identifying the new drug candidate. But in addition to that, it can be utilizing repurposing as well. Same procedure. Only thing is that you can directly move into the clinical validation, because the molecule is already in the public domain and it has been already been taken by the people. But here what you are doing is that you are actually going to target a specific proteins or protein interaction, to understand that that molecule which has already been utilized in certain disease is also playing important role in this pathway or in this disease. It is also going to, the artificial intelligence is also going to enhance the drug efficacy and safety. And how they are going to do, they are going to do by leveraging the computational models to predict the drug target interaction, off target effects, and also the optimized drug candidate for improving the safety and efficacy. Then real world evidences we have seen in the previous part, looking at electronic health records and patient report is going to give information about the safety and optimizing the dose. With the personalized medicine, genomics data of that patient can be utilized for personalized treatment approach. So that benefit is there, which is going to minimize the adverse effect. And with all this, AI can be utilized in the drug designing, deep learning model can be utilized to design the novel molecules which is having potency, but simultaneously it has got less or no toxicity. So personalized medicine is what we are interested, and that's the reason that AI is incorporated with the network pharmacology to drive the personalized medicine. So genetic information is taken, healthcare data is taken, and then information from the network pharmacology is taken. Based on that, the predictive molecule is developed which can be then utilized. It can be in the combination from the plant derived, or it can be single. So we're already doing that, but in addition to that, we're also working on diagnostic tool which can help us to make sure that we are providing the personalized treatment to that patient. So it will be precision diagnostic where individual genetic profiling will be done and medical history will be considered when the person is treated with that specific formulation. In addition to that, once you actually started the treatment, there is a need to have a continuous monitoring. So wearable devices are important to track the patient response in real time, and those are there in public domain. And in future, we are also will be working on that. Based on the biomarkers from the cancer areas, we will be developing wearable devices which can be utilized when the patient is treated with the personalized formulation. So it will give us the real time information about the patient and the response of the patient. There are challenges in AI driven network pharmacology. Major challenge is about the quality of the data and the curation of the data. Then model interpretability is also something which is, can be as a challenge. Then ethical consideration by regulatory bodies are important, and integrating all these challenges is important when you're working on the drug discovery and development. So those significant hurdles are there, but they will be overcome in the future. So data quality and curation, as I said, accuracy, reliability of the data is important, which need to be carefully curated and harmonized so it can be utilized by different people and also different researchers. Then pre-processing technique like cleaning of that data, normalizing is important and it need to be improved. And robust validation of those need to be done, so that way AI driven network pharmacology can be utilized and can give us insightful information. Now, interpretable and explainability of these AI models are important because they are actually going to help us to enable human oversight and also ensure accountability of those people. So, AI decision can be more significant and give us, more. Information about that disease and can be useful. The main challenge is that achieving interpretability and explainability of the models is very complex. So balancing those model performance is very important. So it is an active area of research at the moment because interpretable AI should be transparent and allow user to understand how they are arriving at the decision. And simultaneously, once you have done that, you have gone to the interpretable there, you need to explain that what steps further need to be provided which can give us detailed explanation behind that model. So this is important and this is a challenge which can be important in the future. Ethical consideration we already discussed, but the major thing is that when you bring AI in, drug development or drug discovery, patient privacy, then algorithm bias, and patient concerns are the major part of the ethical consideration, and those need to be challenged and need to be solved. So when we look at the case studies in AI application in network pharmacology, target identification and validation is the first method where you identify different targets, and you can look the expression of those target in tissue, and you can confirm that target role in that disease utilizing in vitro or in vivo model which you have identified in network pharmacology using AI. Then drug repositioning and repurposing is the second area which need to which is actually one of the major area where AI and network pharmacology is playing important role. So uh, you know evaluating the mechanism of action of that potential off-label application. Research are already, efficiently identifying novel drug indication to address that unmet medical needs. So that is important. Then the third one is adverse event prediction and mitigation rule. So data collection, machine learning, mitigation, and continuous monitoring are the part of predicting adverse events. So it is important that we analyze comprehensive data to predict and mitigate adverse events. So it will be useful to proactively address risk, also enhance patient safety and optimizing the therapeutic outcome. So the future of AI in network pharmacology is about advancement in AI algorithm that is already happening. The machines are being developed, as we discussed that the hardware are developed. So that will happen in future, and predictive power and accuracy will be increased. So we need to have that data. We need to take that step, and we as a responsible researcher, scientist, teacher should actually play important role in this. Then integrating with emerging technologies like quantum computers are there, also nanomedicine. So we have got 3 patents published in nano formulations where we have utilized nanotechnology in the chemo prevention, and we will be commercializing that. So discovering that and personalized treatment will be there, and regulatory framework and guideline need to be followed. So this future of the AI network pharmacology is going to be developing, because a lot of emerging technologies are coming, like cloud computing is there, can be utilized. So advancement in AI algorithm and hardware is happening, where the machine there is a improved in machine learning algorithm. There are specialized hardwares available. Quantum computer for AIs are available, which is increasing the computational power for certain algorithm. And there is neuromorphic computing, where mimic the brain architecture, and information processing is happening. So this advancement is already happening, and it will play important role in future network pharmacology. There is also integration of some of the emerging technologies like Internet of Things, augmenting reality. It is helping researchers and also clinicians for better understand the biological networks and drug target interaction. In addition to that, quantum computer, which actually accelerate the computational power in AI-driven network pharmacology. Blockchain technology is useful. It actually decentralized blockchain networks, which can be utilized into the sharing of the medical and pharmaceutical data to support collaborative AI powered network pharmacology. Regulatory frameworks are happening. There are changes happening, and future there will be relevant regulatory to network pharmacology also utilizing AI. So AI driven solutions are there. Ethical consideration need to be given when you are actually utilizing AI network pharmacal at the initial stage. There is a need for vigorous validation and testing protocol when you are utilizing AI models in network pharmacology. Collaboration and harmonization will happen because it is very important that collaborations need to be done, so that way when you are developing a methodology which you have developed can be harmonized to another country by establishing guidelines and standard for that specific methodology. So conclusion and key takeaway from both this session from network pharmacology as a single point and by AI in network pharmacology is that it is a transformative potential having technology where integrating AI with network pharmacology is having a potential revolutioning drug discovery or repurposing or personalized medicine technology. It is going to overcome challenges of data quality because it is going to be personalized by the researchers and it is going to be useful. Ethical consideration need to be considered when you are utilizing this because it is important part. Then ongoing advancements are happening, so there are new AI algorithms are being developed which is going to emerge the technology and it is going to drive further breakthroughs in the network pharmacology. Effective collaboration need to be happen between researcher, clinician, and regulatory body. So that way, uh, network pharmacology utilizing AI can be, developed and harmonized. So that's about AI in network pharmacology. So if there are any question, I'm happy to answer. So you can always utilize. Uh, okay. So and there is a question from Mr. Bharat. How can I use network pharmacology in my project work regarding Parkinson's? So, as I told in my first part, network pharmacology is utilized in majority of the chronic diseases. So, if you are starting with Parkinson as a disease, you can actually identify the target in Parkinson's. So you can utilize. There is a process which we are going to discuss tomorrow. So you start with text mining, where you identify different proteins and genes in Parkinson, and then based on that you can do gene ontology. You can do uh, protein-protein interaction, and utilizing the cytoscape, you can go for the understanding betweenness and degree. Based on all this, you are going to get numbers of target in the Parkinson. And now you are going to move into further phase where you can go for drug repurposing or you can go for the single small molecule formulation from uh, plants. So it's up to you, and all this will be based on the literature search which you are going to do simultaneously with the network pharmacology. So this is the way you can utilize the network pharmacology. We have developed one tool where you can put your disease and put the name of the plant, and it gives you literature which is available in PubMed, and simultaneously it gives you targets in that disease, and it forms the network which I will show it tomorrow. So that can be also utilized if you want to actually use network pharmacology in your project. Is there any? So I hope that you got the answer. Okay, so if there is no any more questions, so I will see you tomorrow again at 8 o'clock, where we will discuss about complete process of network pharmacology, uh, and I will show you that what Swalife have got utilizing network pharmacology, and then how we can collaborate and we can actually utilize this technology uh, in the drug discovery and development. Thank you for joining.